Welcome to Cape Cod National Seashore, a place where land and sea meet in constant motion. It has been home to the Wampanoag and Nauset peoples for centuries. In 1961, President John F. Kennedy protected these shores so that dunes, marshes, and beaches would remain wild for future generations. This is Salt Pond, a gateway to the marshes of Cape Cod. A glacier's melting ice carved out this basin, leaving behind rich soil and winding waterways. For thousands of years, the Wampanoag people harvested fish, clams, and plants here, always taking care not to use more than the land could give. Look around. The tall grasses bend with the wind, but their roots hold the marsh together. These marshes are nurseries for fish, crabs, and birds, and they act like giant filters, cleaning water as it flows toward the sea. They even help protect us from storms, soaking up the power of the waves. Salt marshes are sometimes called blue carbon banks because they trap carbon in their soil and plants, helping to slow climate change. Now we're at Nauset Beach, where the Atlantic Ocean meets the shore with endless waves. Every tide reshapes this beach, carrying sand away and building it back again. But this coast is changing fast. Storms, erosion, and rising seas reshape it every year. Scientists study this beach to learn how climate change is transforming our shores and how we can protect both people and wildlife that depend on them. This is Nauset Lake, standing watch over the shifting sands. Built to guide sailors past the dangers of Cape Cod's coast, it had to be moved inland in 1996 because the ocean was swallowing the bluff beneath it. The lighthouse is a reminder that even human structures must adapt to the power of the sea. As the shoreline keeps changing, so must the ways we care for this fragile edge of the continent. These are the Three Sisters, a trio of lighthouses first built in the 1830s. Side by side, their lights once lined up like three women in white dresses, guiding ships safely past the shoals. But as the shoreline eroded, each lighthouse had to be moved further inland. Today, they no longer shine at the sea, but they stand together as a piece of history, reminders of how people have always had to adjust to Cape Cod's shifting sands and restless waves. From here at Fort Hill, the landscape opens wide, the Great Nauset Marsh stretching out toward the Atlantic. Thousands of years ago, glaciers shaped this basin too. For the Wampanoag, this marsh was a pantry and a highway. It was full of fish, shellfish, wild plants, and safe travel routes by canoe. In the 1600s, English settlers arrived and turned this hill into farmland, clearing fields and building fences. Salt marshes like this one are some of the most productive ecosystems on Earth. They shelter young fish and birds, filter water, and soak up storm surges. Look out across the grass. Every ripple of green is holding the coastline together. Without healthy marshes, Cape Cod would be far more vulnerable to rising seas and powerful storms. This view reminds us that land and people are always connected, and how we care for one shapes the future of the other. Here at head of the Meadow, the dunes rise like golden walls above the ocean. These dunes were left behind by glaciers, and ever since, the wind and waves have been reshaping them grain by grain. Look closer at the beach grass. Their roots stretch deep underground, holding that sand in place. Without these plants, the dunes would simply blow away. The Wampanoag people once gathered along shores like these, clamming, fishing, and respecting the fragile balance between land and sea. Today, piping plovers, a small and endangered shorebird, make their nests in this very sand. Rangers work to protect them, placing signs and fences so the birds can raise their young safely. Every footprint off the trail can damage the roots of plants or disturb nesting birds. Head of the Meadow reminds us that dunes are alive. They shift, breathe, and depend on us to tread carefully. Protecting them is not only about saving plants and animals, it's about preserving the shield that guards Cape Cod from the power of the ocean. From this overlook, you can see dunes, marshes, and ocean all meeting at the edge of the Cape. Scientists call this seashore a living laboratory, studying how storms, rising seas, and shifting sands are reshaping the coast. At Race Point Beach, the Cape stretches farthest into the Atlantic Ocean. Here, powerful currents meet, carrying nutrients that feed fish, seabirds, and even whales just offshore. This is one of the best places on the East Coast to see whales on their migration. Look around. The waves are constant. The horizon is endless. Standing here feels like being at the edge of the continent, where land finally gives way to the sea. It's a reminder that Cape Cod is always reaching out into the ocean, and the ocean is always reaching back. Herring Cove takes its name from the herringfish that once filled these waters, connecting ocean to rivers and people to the sea. For generations, the Wampanoag fished and gathered here, living with the rhythms of the tide and seasons. As we get ready to head home, enjoy this peaceful moment and look out across the waves. The dunes, marshes, and waters we've explored are all part of one living system. This area reminds us that when we care for the land and the sea, we are also caring for our own future.